Welcome to YAS Stripper Podcast. On this podcast, we'll talk about how classifying ourselves as workers is dangerous to society and marginalized people. We will also talk about the climate in and out of the club and all of the amazing things that sex workers do, and everything else in between. This is Daisy Ducati with YAS Stripper Podcast. Hello, and welcome to YAS Stripper Podcast. I am your host, Daisy Ducati, and I am here today with Reagan. And Reagan's going to tell us so much about the Los Angeles stripper strike that's happening right now. I'm really excited to get into it. As you all may know from previous episodes, I have a background with a dancer union working at the Lusty Lady, and I see a lot of similarities between the story at Star Garden in North Hollywood and what was going on in the Lusty Lady in the 90s. And today we're going to learn a little bit about what caused the dancers to strike. There were extreme safety violations and a lot of illegal things happening as well. So we're going to dive right into it, and I hope you enjoy this and learn from it and support the North Hollywood stripper strike. So let's have a chat. Hey, welcome to Yes, a Stripper Podcast. I am here with Reagan, and I'm very excited to introduce her to all of you. Reagan, why don't you say hello?
Hi, so good to be here. My name is Reagan. I go by she, her pronouns, and yeah, this is my second time on the podcast, but my first time with you, Daisy. So I'm really excited.
Yay! I'm really excited. So I really wanted to talk to you today about what's going on with the LA stripper strike. I I come from a stripper union background, so this is something that's particularly interesting to me from my days working at the Lusty Lady, and seeing you guys go through what started the Lusty Lady becoming a union and a co-op is really, really exciting for me in a way. I'm sorry that you guys had to deal with the situation that you've dealt with, but it's exciting to see you guys coming together and fighting it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on down there?
Yeah. Oh, that is, first of all, that is so awesome. I don't know. I think I just completely missed that, or I forgot or something that you were at the Lusty. Oh my God, my mind just blew. 'Cause obviously that, or I don't know if it's obvious or not, but that, yeah, the Lusty Lady is a huge source of inspiration for me and some other dancers involved in this. And I've been to the Lusty Lady. I mean, before it was unfortunately shuttered, but yeah, I've been there and I loved it. So that is so cool that you worked there. Okay.
Yeah, it was magical. I really miss that place every single
I
day.
know. I know. I feel like I missed my shot to be a peep show dancer. It's such a dream. Stay behind the glass. I love the idea of
I
it.
mean, there's peep shows in Vegas. They're not quite as magical as the Lusty Lady, but no place will ever be that magical.
Yeah, yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Yeah, so yeah, fun fact, the night before we were planning to do this action, it was the night before the dancers that were still employed at the club Star Garden, they were going to deliver the petition for a safer work environment. And, there were just so many feelings and just oh my God, I hope that this is going to work out the way that we all hope. And this is scary. And this is really putting us in a very vulnerable position. And what if, yeah, just thoughts and feelings about the nervousness of it. And so for inspiration and to kind of get my confidence back up, I rewatched for probably the fifth time or something. I rewatched the documentary on the Lusty Ladies,
Yes, it's
Live
so
New Girls.
good.
It's so good. And it did exactly. And then I put it in the chat. I was like, all right, if anyone's feeling like you need a little boost of confidence, watch this documentary, and I was like, it's on Amazon. Here's the link or whatever, um, to rent it. So yeah, that's really cool. That's really, really, really cool. So So yeah, I definitely see how that movement is inspiring this movement. What gets me though is that like there's like wait, like 30 years in between. That's what gets me.
Yeah.
Or however many it is, but it's like from the 90s, was it like 1998 or something that they got that it unionized?
Yeah, I think it was around 98. I can't remember
Yeah.
the exact year, but it's
Yeah, from
definitely in the
19
late 90s.
yeah, from 1998 to 2022, and there hasn't been like what I would have expected is like a wave of change and like, power dynamic switch ups, and like, the dancers have the power, and like it only, you know, I mean, I don't want to just sound depressing because I actually have a lot of optimism, but it only got worse. It got so much worse, which I guess is why that's why we're here. That's
Even
why
the
we're
price of lap dances hasn't really changed since then. It's bizarre.
no. Yeah. Yeah, everything's gotten worse and the prices haven't even gotten better. So that's yeah, that's saying something. Yeah. And I feel like I'm hoping that we're right, that this is really like timing is on our side with this, as far as
Mhm.
like the sort of societal perspective on sex work. Like I'm thinking specifically of like a few weeks ago that John Oliver piece came out. That was like maybe it was like a month ago now, I don't remember, but that John Oliver piece on sex work came out, and that was like I like literally cried when I saw that, because I was like, this is the first time I've seen sex work discussed with all of its nuances, and like and like a really like pro sex work stance on like a major mainstream platform
And
ever.
it's so sad that it's so rare that we are spoken about with even a basic level of respect, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why it was so emotional for me. I was like, okay, and then this like we started kind of gaining momentum with this campaign, and like really feeling like we had to strike this match. Um and I just remember thinking about that, like, okay, like I think the time is right. Like I think the sort of public this sort of like, nebulous idea of the public perception of sex work, I feel like it's kind of at this place where people's minds are like a little bit more open than they were, and I just want to like get in there like and just like take advantage of the moment.
Totally, totally. Are you able to tell our listeners a little bit about how this started? I know it's all on the Instagram page, but just to give a little recap.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super fortunate to work at Star Garden, and they had employed so many awesome dancers that are now, on the picket line with me. But like it was kind of a similar thing. It was kind of just like a magical moment in time where things just sort of came together in this way, where these red flags started coming up at work, where it was, there were no like the issue of like there not being rules, or like rules that are communicated in a like clear way. Like the boss never communicates with it. There are two bosses, it's a husband and wife, and they don't communicate to the dancers like what the rules are, like what are the rules of engagement with customers, and like what are the rules for the customers, that like what are they allowed to do, what are they not allowed to do, what are we allowed to do, what are we not allowed to do. There's literally no discussion. And so they also were very fond of hiring baby strippers, probably because I'm
Uh,
assuming because they're easier to manipulate, and you can just kind of like get away with treating them like shit. And so I sort of like found myself in this position where like I don't think I was really like this before, but I don't know, maybe someone would disagree with me, but I feel like I kind of stepped into this role of being a kind of like mama bear. Like I was taking the baby strippers under my wing, and a lot of us were. I'm not even going to take credit for that, because a bunch of us who had been dancing for years found ourselves in this position, like, oh my God, these baby strippers know nothing and they're not being told anything. They have no idea like what to do. They're like, and we saw them just like deer in headlights, not even know how to negotiate their boundaries. And like, so we kind of like took them under our wing and we're like, hey, like, it's really important that you practice saying no and like figure out what you're comfortable with and like really listen to yourself and like don't do anything you're not comfortable with. And these are some fun ways to assert your boundaries without, like this is like a fun way to insert your boundary that you might not lose the sale, or like that might make the customer laugh instead of get angry, or so, like in like a way that like these are ways to be a stripper
Yeah.
and get your money but also not be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that, which which I didn't know at the time was sort of setting the stage for like what happened next, because then it was like we had like become a unit. Like me and the dancers were really close, and like they would come to me and some of the other more experienced dancers for like advice or whatever. And so we kind of developed this relationship where like it was very all for one and one for all, like kind of different than a lot of clubs that I've worked at that are a lot more like individualistic and more competitive. And I'm always kind of seeking out the clubs that have more of a where the dancers have a better relationship to each other.
Yeah.
And this was like the best case scenario. This was like we were there for each other, we all supported each other, and we helped each other make money, like, and there
Yeah.
wasn't, yeah, it was like it was really honestly like utopian.
And
Okay, so
it seems like from my experience working at a bunch of different places that club owners and management often use like the high turnover rate and the competitive nature of dancing to like kind of keep control of the dancers and to mold new dancers to whatever it is that they want them to do, and not necessarily what the law says that is their job.
exactly. Exactly. I definitely think that that is like a well-worn tactic of strip club owners and managers for sure. Because exactly what's happening. Because when dancers realize that they're stronger together and that they actually have the power to stand up for themselves, and especially if they can do it as a collective unit, that is scary to them, and it should be, because like we are like the workforce of strippers is the entire industry. So like as soon as strippers, I don't want to sound condescending because like I think that strippers know this, but as soon as there's an example and like a modern, a contemporary, rather like a contemporary example of this happening, I feel like it's going to inspire more dancers, and the dancers that maybe have been thinking about this will take it more seriously, because I think now there's just a sort of like the general consensus is just like, oh, like nothing's going to change. So like if you don't like it, just go to another club because it's not going to change, and like don't waste your time, don't waste your energy, which like I get all that, but like when is enough enough? And
And
so also oh sorry, go ahead.
you go ahead.
I was going to say I think also like it comes down to like the the idea of privilege as well, because I think that for a lot of dancers, it would be scary and like, maybe impossible for them in their lives right now to like try to organize, and they don't have that luxury. And then it was like a just kind of a perfect scenario kind of situation where like we all cared so much. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, so I got to go back and talk about like the issues, but we all cared so much about like our main issue, the thing that we're rallying around is safety, and we all cared so much about it and about each other that it was like a no-brainer that
Hmm.
like we were in a position where we could put our jobs on the line, and we trusted each other to get us through this. So like setting up the stripper action funds to like have supporters like donate money so we can like give the money to the dancers on the line who like aren't working because they're protesting and like don't have a job right now, and like maybe may possibly not be hired at other clubs if they're like found out, and like the other clubs are like not going to touch them if they're like blacklisted or something like that, because that happens too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I probably need to backtrack again to talk about the issues, like what the red flags were. But I wanted to see if you had something that you wanted to say.
So before we go back to like what exactly the issues were, I think one of the main advantages that we all have now versus in the 90s when the Lusty Lady was demonstrating and organizing, is that there are a lot more opportunities for us online, and we're able to like not only get the message out a lot easier, but also there's things like OnlyFans and there's things like online shows that make it easier to like make up the lost income. And how has that affected you guys?
Oh yeah. I can't even believe I didn't quite put it together. That's so obvious. But yeah, that's actually that's a brilliant reason of why this is happening again, and like it's the same but different. Because yeah, because I definitely feel like, I mean, as much as many problems as I have with Instagram and their sort of like haphazard enforcement of bullshit rules, um yeah, and their profiling of marginalized communities and all of that. However, the Instagram that we made for the stripper strike has been instrumental in the success, and we're trying to use it the best that we can. We're like, we have some savvy people on our team who are like making memes and like making it really fun, so people like want to share our content and like get involved, and like I think it's been super successful. So that's definitely, you're right, I think that's definitely a big difference.
So for our listeners, what's the Instagram handle?
Oh yeah, thanks. It's a stripper strike NoHo. And NoHo is short for North Hollywood, if anyone's like out of LA and they where it's not. I was thinking later, I was like, oh man, it's like kind of sounds like like horphobic or something, like no ho, or something.
But that's just what people call North Hollywood.
That's just North Hollywood, yeah. So I was like, oh, I hope no one thinks we're like whatever, like we're strippers on strike and we're not hoes or something. That's not what we're saying.
Nah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
let's maybe circle back to like what the safety concerns were that created this whole situation.
yeah, thanks. Um, so so going back to what I was saying about like that there are no rules, and just kind of like, I mean, there are rules, but no one knows what they are. Um, I worked at Star Garden before this ownership took over, before the shutdown. So it changed ownership during the shutdown. Um, and I worked for the previous business owner, um, sort of on and off for many, many years. And I knew what the rules were then because they actually followed the law. Shocking. Um,
Imagine that.
yeah, there's like a lot of laws that are like very funny, because I think strip club laws are just really funny. Like there's some, like you can't there can't be like a topless or a nude woman within 6 feet of an inebriated person or whatever. So like they have like a line dividing the stage, like this little triangle that like, this is for the previous ownership. Like if you could not, I mean, they would yell at you if you did. You couldn't cross the line if you had your top off. There was a topless club, so you could like put your top back on and then like go over to the tip rail and like talk to people, or kind of like, or like give them a little like a closer show, and then you had to go back behind the line if you were going to take your top off again. So like that was completely just thrown out the window. Like no one at this new management, they don't even tell the girls that. No one even knows what that line is. I know because I was here when when the previous owners were there.
And the problem with that is if Vice shows up, it's not just the club that gets in trouble, it's the dancers who may not even know that that's a law.
Exactly. So that yeah, I mean, that is not, that's endangering the dancers on that level as well. Um, and then yeah, and then just like one more example of that is like, I know that the lap dances were supposed to be no contact, and you had to, like, the dancer had to have one foot on the ground. Like, that was like another like weird strip club rule that's like, okay, so one foot on the ground at all times. That's complete. I mean, no one tells the dancers this at this new with this new ownership. There's no acknowledgement of it, and so nobody follows the rules because there's no rule to break that anyone knows of. But it is against the law technically. So yeah, all the dancers are giving these like very creative sometimes slap dances, like standing over the customer or just like throwing up legs everywhere. But it's like that. I know for a fact that like that's supposed to be against the rules, but again, like no one's communicating that. Um, so that's part of the issue. Getting into more of like what made us actually feel unsafe is that the security was not empowered to help us. So like I found that out really, really early on with this new management because I was about to give a dance. I think it was my first or my second shift when I got hired back after the shutdown with this new management, and I was hired back. It was my first or second shift, and I was about to give a lap dance, and I went over to the security guard and I said, "Hey, can you just like keep an eye on this dance? Um, this guy is like, he kind of seems like he might be a little bit hard to control, and like I just would love it if you just like keep an eye on it just in case. Like it might be fine, but like just in case." And he looked
Totally
at me.
reasonable request.
Oh yeah, and like normal.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and I remember feeling like, why is he looking at me so perplexed? Like he looked very confused, and I was like, weird response. Anyways, so I like went and did my dance, and the dance was actually fine. The customer was like perfectly well behaved, and I was like shocked. I was like, wow, okay, I thought he was like really drunk, and then he was like very well behaved. So after the dance, I went over to the bouncer and I was like, oh, never mind. Guess didn't need to give you that whole like, warning or whatever. Like it ended up being fine, but thanks anyway. And he was like, well, just so you know, like I'm not allowed to interfere.
What?
And I was like, what does that even mean? Well, what do you mean? You're the bouncer. Like, well, you're not allowed to interfere. And he was like, yeah, like you have to talk to the bosses are Steve and Jenny. He's like, you have to talk to Steve and Jenny if you have a problem with a lap dance. And I was like, what? So I heard it from the
That's
security guard
absurd.
first. Yeah. And I had never been told that by them. So like I was hearing it first from the security guard, and I thought that was really, really weird. So when we had these baby strippers come in, and I was kind of like showing them and telling them like, the ropes and stuff. And so I told them, I would tell them all like, the security won't help you if you have a problem during a dance. But if you're like if you're in danger, I told them, I was like, flag me down, flag me down or one of the other girls, and we will get you. We will help you. Just if something gets crazy, the security won't help you. I would literally, because I was worried about these girls. I was like, if you're if someone's not respecting your boundaries and you're in trouble, I was like, flag me, like yell for me or like one of the other dancers.
So like what is even the point of having security if they're not allowed to protect the dancers from the customers? Like what is their job?
Girl, I don't know. I've been joking that they should change the position title to be like, I don't have like a
stand around dudes.
Yeah, stand around. Well, they have one job. They have one job, and it's to check IDs and pat people down at like when they walk in the door. Like they pat people down for weapons.
All right.
And they check their ID, and that is the extent of it. And then they're like on their phones, they're doing whatever. They're not even watching the dances. They're literally not even watching. They don't even look over there.
So are you all expected to tip out these security guys?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, something that I found like sort of beneficial at this club actually was that for me, they made a point that they didn't require there was no mandatory tip outs for anyone. And they were just like, you don't have to tip anybody out, and it's fine. Like you don't have to feel like you should, or like and a lot of the dancers wouldn't. Like so that was actually something that I have. Yeah. That's something that I haven't encountered anywhere, like just like a free pass, like you don't have to tip anyone, and like no, really you don't, and you don't have to feel bad about it, like you don't have to tip anyone. Like I've never heard that. So I was like, "Oh, cool. Well, I thought that was kind of progressive." When they told me that at the time, when they were hiring me, they were like, "We don't have we don't have a stage fee or whatever, and you don't have to tip anybody out, but you have to pay, you only keep half of your lap dance money is
Oh.
that's the payoff for
Okay.
them." Yeah. Or the drawback for us. Yeah. So like no stage fee, no tip outs. I mean, I would always tip everyone out, but like I tipped them like the minimum. Like I would just tip everyone like $5.
Yeah.
Just kind of like whatever. I'm just used to it. But like it really weirded me out that the security was under the impression that they weren't allowed to intervene. And then I started seeing things happen. So then the club started to get busier. Like it was, because it was coming back from the shutdown, and then they like hadn't hired enough girls. So like the customers like were sort of like slowly coming back to the club, and then like it started to be like a good thing, and we were pulling in customers and keeping our regulars, and the club started to get busier, and then so things like would start to happen, and there was just no safety protocol. Like I have seen a dancer grabbed on stage by her shoe and like dragged while she's
What?
on stage. Yes.
What?
I saw that, and a security guard saw that too, and he did nothing.
Oh
Nothing.
my God.
And the
I
guy was like wasted drunk, and his friends had to like pull him back and like control him. They're like, dude, you can't fucking do that. Or he was literally bounced by his friends, and our own security guards like twiddling his thumbs. And I was like, holy
wow.
fuck. So then I'm like running
Wow.
all around to all the girls, like, hey, security's not doing shit. That customer's out of line. He just dragged that girl across the stage. Like, don't go over there. Like, I'm like trying to manage the situation. But like it
Yeah.
was stuff like that would happen all the time.
Oh
And it just
no.
it just became intolerable.
Yeah, I can see that. That sounds terrifying, actually.
Yeah, it was. And like we would not be out there like protesting if it wasn't just like that bad. Like I don't think people realize, or like, and like some customers that are just kind of like dubious and are just like, well, how bad was it really? It's like you don't know what we go through. Like you don't know what we have to deal
They,
with.
they don't even understand how hard it is at a normal strip club,
Yeah.
that's actually following all the rules and has good bouncers. So I can't even imagine working under these conditions.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so yeah, then there was a sequence of events that kind of accelerated everything. So like that was happening more and more, and we were just kind of like seething and trying to like, I was seething all the time, but I was trying not to like just let it all out because I knew I was going to get myself in trouble. Um, Fun fact, the first time that I was fired from this club was with the previous management, and it was after AB5 had passed. And the loophole that they had found, because every club finds their own unique loophole with AB5. So their loophole was we would sign our name next to a statement that said that we had been paid hourly in cash, which we hadn't. No one was getting paid. We actually had to pay the club double what we were paying before. Like the stage fees doubled, the late fees doubled, and they took more of our lap dance money. And then they made us sign our name next to a statement that said, I was paid in cash for this many hours. And I was like, I lost it one night. I was like, this is bullshit. And then I was fired. So
That's that's ridiculous. And for the listeners that don't know, AB5 was the proposition that made all independent contractors employees in California, right?
yes, yes. And I don't know if it's all independent contractors, but definitely the ones that were sort of misclassified based on like, yeah, like what defines an independent contractor and what defines an employee, and like
Hmm.
the certain types of jobs that actually were more in line with what an employee is. But yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I know even for adult film, like if I shoot for a company in California once a year, I still have to be on payroll as an employee.
Wow. Yeah, it changed a lot, and it's got a long way to go to be really beneficial for those of us that are like supposed to be benefiting from like better working conditions and rights, and we're actually like the most fucked as far as strippers go. Yeah, we kind of got fucked on that deal. But yeah, thank you for explaining that.
We got this.
um, yeah. Well, I would say we got fucked on that deal, but the kicker is it is making the action that we're taking now possible. So it made things a lot worse, but it also opened the door for things to get better if
Mhm.
strippers band together and do it together.
And if you all do choose to unionize, it makes it a lot easier to
Yes,
be employees.
exactly. Exactly. Because and the Lusty Lady was really unique in that way because you guys were employees there.
Hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't talk like all the shit on it's both ways. It's both ways.
I, I
If
think I think the intention behind the proposition was really good. However,
yeah.
club management will always find a way to screw the dancers over. Like no matter what kind of legislation is in place, they're always going to find a way to get more money from the dancers.
Yeah. That's true. That's very, very true.
And I think that a part of having not having a code of conduct, it makes it easier to fire dancers for any reason at all because there's
Mhm.
no written rules, so they can make up rules as they go and be like, you broke this rule that you didn't know existed,
Mhm.
and they can
Mhm.
just kick you out because they don't like you or because you don't fit what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was crazy is just how stupid they are. So like they would even they would fire dancers for not selling enough lap dances because they only profit off of our lap dance. Well, because they only profit like immediately off of our lap dances. But like what they're not taking into account is the fact that that dancer is bringing in customers and is adding to the ambience of the club and brings so much to the table. But if they're just like, oh, she's not selling enough lap dances, we're not making enough money on her back tonight, they would fire her. This literally happened. And so that was another that was like another thing. Like all these things were like coming like cumulatively, we were all just like seething. And then then I was fired. And then that was like one of the catalysts. That was like one of three catalysts that in my mind I kind of categorize it like there were three things that happened in succession, and then it was like, okay, we can't take this anymore. So I was fired. um i was I was working a night and then I stayed. So yeah, after my shift was over, I wanted to talk to the management um, about a safety concern that I had. And the bosses weren't there that night, but the bartender was kind of acting as a manager, and he kind of like fancied himself as like being on our side and like being our friend and stuff. So I felt like this might be an opportunity to like bring something to light. And I was also worried that I was gonna. So yeah, I was worried that I was gonna get in trouble that night because I had only given lap dances to one person. And he just wanted my attention all night, and he was paying for it, and so that's what I did.
And that
And
shouldn't be a problem.
it
That's
shouldn't be a
what you're there
problem.
to do.
It shouldn't be a problem. And like I made them so much money that night, so much money. And I regularly did. I was a really, really, really good earner for them. So this was like super bizarre how everything just went down. But like that's why I think they're just stupid, because it's like they've really just shot themselves in the foot so many times. But like basically I was aware that Jenny, the boss, was reprimanding dancers for giving this one customer so much attention and not like giving enough attention to everyone else in the room, even though he was spending the most money. And I don't think anyone was complaining like, oh, they're like, no one's giving me enough attention. Like, we were for the most part making our rounds and making everyone happy, and everyone was having a good time. Like, we're good at our jobs. We know what we're doing.
And
But
as
she
a
was kind of,
dancer, it's your job to sniff out the money and go get it. Like, I
yes,
don't see the
yes.
point of, not getting the money.
Yes. And they had this like weird, yeah, this like micromanagey perspective of like being in our business in that way, that like we were expected to deprioritize our own benefits, like not think about that, like, oh, it doesn't matter if that's where the money's coming from, you do something else because that's what we want for the club. So like me being with this one customer and only doing dances for this one customer was like, was potentially going to get me in trouble. And so I was also coming to him, I had a safety concern about it, because I was like, hey, I just want you to know what I was going to say. I went I went to this bar manager person, and I was like, hey, I want to tell you something. I was like, I'm a little bit worried that this customer is getting possessive and it's concerning me. And I brought it up because I was like, that is why I was only doing dances for him that night, because he actually wouldn't let me do dances for anyone else. And he cock blocked a dance that I was going to give to another customer. He interrupted me. I had already sold a dance and I was about to go over and do the dance. And he stopped me,
Oh
pulled me away
no.
from the customer, and was like, no, like, I'll pay you whatever you want. Just sit with me. And then I had to like, it was so awkward. And I was like, I felt like a piece of meat, and it was like not a comfortable situation of just being like bought and sold like in that moment. It was super weird. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I can't believe this is happening. So I was like, that is not cool. Side note, I actually like talked to that customer, and like he apologized, and
Good.
everything is fine. Everything is fine. But like at the time I was concerned about it, because I thought that was like not, I thought that wasn't cool, and I thought it was going to get me in trouble. So that is what I went to the bar about. Um, this manager, this bartender acting as the manager, uh, hears me say, I'm concerned because I think that this customer is getting possessive. And he like leans in and like looks me in the eyes without smiling. He's like, he's gonna kill you. And I was like, what? Okay.
What?
Yeah. And then he said it two more times. He's like, no, he's gonna fucking kill you. Like he's for sure going to kill you.
What the fuck?
And like it freaked me out. If it was a joke, I didn't get it. I was not on board. Like it wasn't funny. And it obviously wasn't like a joke for me. It was like a joke at my expense. And like I was very, I was like,
You already have major safety concerns, and you already know that like management and the other staff are not going to be there to protect you or help you in
yeah,
any way. And
yeah,
then to even if it was just a joke, like to joke like that is just not okay. It's oof.
yeah. And it's just, yeah, there's so many levels to it, because it's also like, harassment, assault, and murder in in the sex work industry is not fucking funny, because it's real. Like this is not a joke to anyone who does this, who is in this business. Like we actually have to be super careful and vigilant, and that's why we're supposed to be able to trust our fucking security guards to like do their job and protect us. That's the whole point. So like, okay, so after he said that, the security guard joins in on the fun and says, oh yeah, actually, he was talking to me about guns, the customer. He's like, yeah, he like wants me to take him to a gun range. He said he's like never learned how to shoot a gun, and he really wants to shoot guns. And then the
What?
bartender, yeah, this really happened. And then the bartender was like, oh yeah, dude, you probably shouldn't do that because he's gonna kill Reagan. This is just like, this conversation is just like happening right in front of me. And then one of the other dancers who was like witnessing this was like, what the fuck? Like, don't say that to her. That like,
That's
stop
not
it.
funny. It's not
No.
acceptable in any way.
Yeah,
That's
it's not.
wow. And like it almost sounds like the bartender doesn't care if he
Yeah.
does murder you.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't feel like there was any like real concern. It was just kind of like, it was just some like like dark, disgusting joke,
Wow.
and at my expense.
Wow.
And then I got angry, And I brought up another safety issue, which was that they allow customers to stay after closing time and just hang out, the ones that spend money. Like, for
No.
example, this customer that I had a safety concern about was frequently allowed to stay after the club was closed when we get dressed and we're like out of our personas and trying to go home, and like there are customers, and it wasn't just this customer, it was other customers at other times too, but they would just be like hanging around, and it made the
That's
dancers uncomfortable.
yeah.
And
And like
so
when you're
yeah,
already concerned about your safety and you're already concerned about this guy in particular, and to have them around like as you're getting dressed and leaving to see which car you're going to, where you're going, things like that are a serious, serious safety concern.
yeah, yeah. And I think that like in any other industry that would probably be taken more seriously, but like I don't know, it felt so dehumanizing to just be like mocked. And it got worse too. It was like after, so I decided to bring that up. I was like, well, if you really think that I'm going to be murdered by this customer, then I don't understand why he's not kicked out at the end of the night with everyone else. And then their response was, well, what are you doing to lead him on?
What?
That's what he said to me. My job, sir. I'm doing my job. I am doing my job. That is
That-
literally my job description.
The job is literally to seduce people and take their money.
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing to lead him on? I was like, oh my. And then I yelled. I was
Yeah,
very upset. And
I'd
yeah,
probably yell too. That's
yeah,
wow.
I was really, really, I was very upset by that. And then I was accused of like seeing him outside of the club, which like I hadn't seen him outside of the club. And like that was just like another gaslighting, you know. So like I got really angry. I yelled at him, and then he apologized. He's like, I'm sorry. Like I didn't mean that. I'm really sorry. And I was like, okay, I hear your apology. Thank you. And then I left. And then I was like, I was extremely upset. I like cried on my way home. I was like screaming. I felt just like unprotected, unsafe, unheard. Like I didn't know what I was gonna do. And I yeah, I felt like shit for a few days. And then I was supposed to go back into work. 3 days later was my next shift. So I came to work. I had like my makeup on, I was dressed and ready to work. I pull into the parking lot, and the boss, Steve, comes out and tells me that he's really sorry about this, but I went off on staff and I was
Ugh,
fired.
ugh. And they couldn't
Yeah.
have told you that before you showed up, also.
I know, that's what I said. I was like, "Do you not have a phone?" Like,
Saved you the time of going there. Like, getting around LA is hard.
I know. I know.
Ugh,
Just another example of their inconsideration.
wow.
But
I am so sorry that you had to go through all that. That's not acceptable by any means.
and it just could have been a conversation. Like, I don't know why it had to escalate even. Like, it was that I'm just so I'm just I'm still just flabbergasted by the whole thing. And then so the the customer came in to like ask for my job back and like wanted to like help in some way, like because we had like made up about it. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't, you know, I didn't mean for it to come off that way. Like I just wanted you to make easy money and not have to deal with any other asshole, you know, and I just
Yeah.
thought I was doing you a favor, you know. And so I could see that perspective, and I was like, okay, okay, you know. So then he was like, he's like, I feel completely responsible, I'm gonna try to get your job back. So he went back to the club and like tried to see if they would like rehire me, and they told him all of these crazy lies. And that's when it
Oh
gets
no.
super weird. They were like, she laughs about you, like she's mocking you behind your back, like she thinks you're disgusting or something. And then
Oh
like
no.
weird stuff like I was calling him like a widower or something. Like he's not a widower, and like why would I say that? But like they said all this like weird lies. And I was like, are you trying to like in their mind, are they like trying to get me killed? That's what I thought. I was like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah, and they shouldn't be discussing one of their dancers with a random customer at all.
oh my
Like,
God. It was
even
super weird.
even at like a a part-time coffee shop job, that management wouldn't discuss their employees with the customers like that unless there's a immediate problem. That's insane.
Yeah. It seemed to me that they were trying to like it seemed to me like they were trying to keep him as a customer since he was such a big spender and like villainize me so that he would like forget about me and then come back to the club and just keep spending money like that. I guess that's like I'm assuming that's psychologically what they were thinking.
But it's so
But man,
inappropriate
it's
and unprofessional.
cruel. It's yes. Inappropriate, unprofessional, and just mean and weird, callous. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So then that happened, and that kind of like sent a little shockwave because, like I said before, I was kind of the like mama bear stripper.
Hmm.
So everyone was like, "What the fuck?" And then it freaked the dancers out. And then the next incident was a customer was recording one of the dancers topless on his phone. And another dancer, and the security doesn't do shit about any of this ever, so a dancer came over to like intervene, and there was like an issue of like a language barrier, so they got another dancer to come over and translate, like, you can't take the video, you have to stop. And then uh the boss came over and like yelled at the dancers.
What?
And yeah, and then like the guy, like the customer was not reprimanded, the security like did nothing, and then they
Wow.
just and then they fired the dancer who intervened. They fired her for trying to get the video of this dancer on stage deleted. She got fired for that
Wow.
incident. And that was the second thing. And then the third thing was a meeting that Jenny, the boss, had called with all the dancers. That was like right, like just following this incident. Maybe it was like the night after or something like that. I'm not sure exactly the timeline, but very soon after that incident, she like called a meeting with the dancers who were working on like a Saturday night or something, and had them in the dressing room and just like announced to them, like, so that there was like no confusion. She's like, if you have a problem, you can't go to the bouncers. You are not allowed to ask the security to intervene. You come to me. And if I'm not here, they call me on the phone. Like literally, it was just like this bizarre overreach of just like,
What?
what are you insane?
What is the point of having bouncers if they don't
Exactly.
bounce?
Exactly. So that was the final straw. And then it was like, okay, we got to move on this because we don't want anyone else to get fired. Like we have to do this, like make like accelerate this campaign, like put it on fucking speed 100. And like, yeah, and then things started moving. Yeah, so like the idea of doing something and like and acting together and doing like an action like this, the petition and then like a possible strike, all of that came uh in our group chat after I was fired. One of the dancers, Chevelle, um she just put it in the group, like she asked me like what I thought about it. She's like, I think it's like now or never. Like, let's just drop it. Let's just drop the idea of like unionization in this group chat and just see, because like we probably have nothing to lose, because like because this is the moment, and like we just let's just see if this like idea lands.
This is exactly how it starts.
Yeah. And it was like I was like, oh God. I was like, yeah, I was like scared, like, oh my God, like what are are the dancers just gonna think we're crazy? And like this whole group chat of like all the dancers that were working there, they were like, down, like, let's do this, like we're on board, let's take our power
Yes.
back, we're ready, we're like, and it was just like, what? It was so like, it was so energizing. Yeah. So then like with this rule of like, oh yeah, you can't like use the security to protect yourselves. Then that was like, okay, like literally within like a week, we were handing in that petition. It was super, super fast. It
Good.
was,
Good.
yeah, yeah.
Whew, man,
I
I
know,
don't understand why club owners and managers think that they can continue to get away with things like this
I
and
know,
put the dancers' safety in jeopardy. Like the the main job of the club is to keep the dancers safe while they go do their jobs.
I know.
I don't understand. Like if there's no safety, there's no dancers. If there's no dancers, there's no club.
Yes, exactly. Put that on a sign.
Right?
Exactly.
Like why would they not want to keep the dancers safe?
I don't know. I don't know. But like that's how it would be all the time is like I would be racking my brain trying to figure out how this even benefits them. Trying to figure out how this is even like to what end? Like why like all of the the rules that put us in danger, like what does that get you? Like what are you gaining? And
Right?
then like dancers aren't making like for me I just see it so clearly like a safe happy dancer makes you more money like and they had like such an incredible workforce like these women are powerhouses like we were making really really good money I have to say like I was making the best money that I have ever made in my career at this club
Wow.
and would have made a lot more and I've been in this industry for a long time and so like that's saying something like this like we were making them money and then they just shot themselves in the foot over and over and over.
Yep. And and here we are. Now there's no club because there's no dancers dancing. um
Yeah, there are a couple dancers that we haven't like organized yet, but we're trying to like keep the door open for them because I think like I have hope. I have hope. But it
and
sucks because they have like another club down in Long Beach that they can kind of pull dancers from that are sort of like
mm,
outside of our network that like
yeah.
don't even know what's going on. So I that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but we are but I mean we have like we have almost all of the dancers that were working at that time
Hmm.
on board and who all of the customers know. So we have like a ton of customers organized because it's basically like the whole workforce that
Yes.
was there.
And the customers go there to see the dancers. They don't go there to hang out with the bouncers.
No,
So
they do not.
they're like if the dancers are feeling unsafe and don't want to be there and are picketing outside, then the customers that came there to see them probably are not going to hang out.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And there will always be a few people who either can't or won't take the time off to demonstrate with you guys. But it seems like you have the majority of people organized against this, and it's so amazing seeing you guys come together like this. Like I said, coming from the Lusty Lady, and like the unionization of the Lusty Lady happened for a lot of the same reasons. There were safety concerns, there was
Mhm.
filming against
Mhm.
people's will, there was some racist business practices happening,
Mhm.
and the dancers went on strike and formed a union. And I think that you guys are on the right path and doing the right thing, and I'm
Yeah.
so proud of you. Like
Thank
personally, I'm
you.
proud of all of you because it's beautiful. It's beautiful seeing you guys come together like this.
Thank you. I'm really proud of the dancers too. Like it's pretty it they inspire me so much. I'm like, yeah, I'm in love. And I want to say also that yeah, one of the things that is hard for us to address on the front end because it's just hard it's hard to get the evidence to prove it. Yeah, we really want to get them for their racist hiring practices because they haven't hired a single black dancer since they took over the club. Not a
Yep.
single dancer. Not one. And they turn away black dancers just at the door. They don't even let them audition. So
Yep.
like we're collecting like testimony and stuff to see like what's enough to really get them for that. But it's a hard thing to prove because the laws are so stripped of the power. Like what is that? Like is it Title 9 or something? I forget what
I'm
it's
not
called.
sure.
I forget which one it is. I could be misrepresenting it, but the one, the anti-discrimination bill or whatever, but like it's the anti-discrimination whatever it is like it's so stripped of its like power to really hold people accountable that it's hard to it's hard to really like nail a business on that. But that's our plan, like going forward, like the more gains that we get with the stuff that we can prove and the stuff that we like have the necessary hard evidence for, we're going to go as hard as we can with that. And then on the back end, we're definitely addressing that because like that is a whole other thing that is disgusting about this club. That is a whole other issue.
And I'm sure the last thing these managers and owners want is a class action lawsuit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, where in an ideal world where all the dancers get exactly what they demand, what would the future look like? What are you guys hoping for?
Oh man. In an ideal world, I'm just going to say it. In an ideal world, they completely buckle under the pressure and they are forced to sell the club and we buy it from them. That's my
Yes!
ideal.
Lusty
my
Lady too.
yes. Yes. Like I don't know. I mean, we're like dreaming big. So like that is like on the table for us. Like we want that. Like that's what we're hoping for. But I don't know how likely that is. I don't know. I know that they have other businesses and like I don't know if we can this isn't their only source of income. So like it might be more difficult than we think to, make them really like feel the financial pressure that we're trying to like squeeze. So we're trying to trying different tactics to see how far we can push them off
Yes. Well,
off the
I
throne.
definitely wish for that for all of you because
Thank you.
it uh it would be so amazing to have the dancers running the show again.
I know it's overdue. It's overdue.
Yes. Yes.
It is.
My heart.
I know.
It's so amazing. Hopefully the demonstrations will turn the club into a money pit for them and they will have no choice but to sell it.
Yeah, I know. I hope so too. Like, I definitely feel like it's affected its reputation. And then, like,
Hmm.
also just keeping the customers, like, all of the best customers were our customers, and
Hmm.
they are outside with us on the sidewalk, like, protesting and bringing us food.
Good, good. That's what we need in this world is like for customers and fans to really be that kind of supportive and like care about our safety and our concerns.
Yeah.
Oh, hi baby.
Yes. 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 All right. Don't step on it. All right. Come on.
How cute.
Hey, down. Down.
Little sweet pea. Um, so yeah, hopefully that happens for you all. I would really like to see the dancers running the show again.
Me too. Me
and
too.
and at the very least, like I would like to see like management that gives a shit
I
about the people that
know.
are working for them. I
Why
don't
is that like the
understand.
hardest thing to achieve? Is like strip club owners and managers are just like there's so many that like are just cut from the same cloth. I'm just like, how did what?
And in any other workplace, this would absolutely not fly. Like, you have to have a clearly defined code of conduct. You have to have safety protocols. Like, it's obvious stuff for any
Yeah.
workplace.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
agree. And I want more clubs run by the dancers, more clubs run by ex-dancers.
mhm,
And like, yeah, I want to see the whole industry change. And that's why we're focusing on this like smaller club, because it's a lot harder to go after the big ones, and the big
mhm,
ones control so much, and they are professionals at like litigating this shit and just like getting you a settlement and getting you to go away. And like, we don't want to go away, like we want to change things.
mhm.
And so that's why we're like really like that's why it's happening at this club. It's like a smaller club.
Yeah.
But like, I also just want to clarify, because I think like the owners like sell themselves as this kind of like mom and pop sort of like business owner situation. But I just want to clarify that they are millionaires and they have many businesses, and like
Mhm.
they are absolutely exploiting their dancers just like the worst ones in the corporate clubs. So like, don't feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of situation is absolutely inexcusable. Like, even if they were just a mom and pop that owned one strip club, like, it's inexcusable,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
matter how you
Agreed.
look at it. And oh man, I am so sorry that you have to go through all this. I'm so sorry. But
Thank you.
you guys are doing the right thing. You're putting in the work, and I'm really proud of you. And
Thank
so,
you.
what's coming up in the short term for you and for the other dancers?
Yeah, I guess short term is just like, I mean, I feel like I'm so in this world now of like strategizing and like endless meetings of like what to do next, and like, different media sources that are interested in the story, and like how to like, use this moment to the best of our ability. So yeah, like definitely more picketing. I think we're gonna picket until it just stops being like effective to our goals.
Hmm.
So right now we're picketing Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, because those are like the big like money days, and also when like more people who aren't already organized are going to the club. Because
Yes.
like on those nights, like most of our regulars are with us anyway, so like there aren't that many people even coming on those like slower days. So just to kind of like conserve energy a little bit, and be able to do other types of organizing and strategizing, we've like cut it down a little bit. So right now we're doing Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and it's really fun. We're doing like different themes to kind of like keep it exciting and fun for us, but also fun for our allies, and also fun for like the social media stuff, because that
Hmm.
is really instrumental too in like getting our story heard and shared and listened to and taken seriously. um yeah, and then um
So, how can people donate to
oh
this
yeah,
cause?
yeah, so yeah, we set up the stripper action fund. It is a link that is the link that's in our bio at the Instagram stripper strike noho.
Hmm.
And I think there's like a bit.ly, like there's like a, I don't remember what it is though. I think it's like, what is it, like the bit.ly/stripper strike noho, I think. But I could be wrong about that. But yeah, if you just find the link in the bio, and that'll take you right to the action fund, and that money goes towards the dancers on the picket line, and some of the dancers that are not able to be on the picket line, but they're helping us in other ways. Uh, and they signed the petition and stuff like that, and they're like, and they're in need. So yeah, we're sort of internally deciding, who like on a basis of need, basically,
Hmm.
who needs the funds like more quickly, and like who needs more. So we're trying to be like democratic about that. And then some of the money might go towards our own security, because we have just been our own this is the weird part, is our own security guards have become hostile to the picket line, which is super weird, because it's like our fight even isn't even with them.
And
Like,
what did they get out of making it harder?
I don't know. I don't know. None of it makes any sense. I've been racking my brain. I don't understand. I don't know what they're getting out of it. Like, but I don't know if it's like a power trip. Like I'm trying to like psychoanalyze like what's going on, but they have definitely, not all of them, but like there are certain security guards that are like mortal enemy on the picket line and just like like laughing at us, making fun of us, like filming us, intimidating us, keeping their hand on their gun, calling the cops on us. That was a new one last night. Our
What?
security guard called the cops on us.
What?
Yeah. We're protesting for our safety inside the club, and our security guards that we have worked with for a long time called the cops on us.
This
And the
is
cops didn't do anything
ridiculous.
because we're
It's
doing it or
legal.
doing everything lawfully. Yeah,
Yeah.
we weren't actually breaking any laws. So
In
like the
America,
cops
you're
like
allowed to demonstrate.
yeah, yeah. No, it's been insane and like it's a really weird dynamic. But so we might be using some of the action fund to pay for security against our own security.
Oh
Because they're
man.
like weird and like aggressive and intimidating and I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
It's weird. It's really weird. I'm like, you don't need to be like that.
Yeah, just go inside and stand there like you do.
Yeah. But then also ironically they hired extra security, which they didn't have before. They like, hired more security. And then they have all of the security outside like antagonizing us. And I'm all like, who's inside watching the handful of customers and the one dancer in there making sure that she's okay? I'm like, this is
Apparently, that's not their job.
yeah, it's literal like this is like thank you for proving me right, you know. Thank you for proving us right.
That's
Oh my God.
ridiculous. That's
It's a,
ridiculous.
it's a clown show.
So, for the listeners out there who may not be able to make it to the picket line in North Hollywood, um, definitely make sure you donate to the cause and help support the dancers that aren't able to work right now. And just spreading the word and not crossing a picket line are really
Yeah.
helpful ways that you can support this cause.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Thank you.
So in the meantime, are you still doing the Cyber Clown Girls shows?
We have been doing them monthly.
Okay.
Ever since things like opened back up, we've been kind of testing out some different ideas. We've done a couple of hybrid shows now that are like shows that are for a in real life audience as well as virtual. And like I think
Cool.
we've been like very successful at trying to find that balance. It
Mhm.
is still kind of like a work in progress, but we just did our second one um like a week ago, and it was a fundraiser for the action fund,
Mhm.
and it was awesome. It was
Yay.
super successful, and like it looked like a Star Garden because all of the Star Garden dancers were there, and we had them all perform, and then like
Yay.
all of the Star Garden regulars were there, and it was just like it was like a moment of like utopia. Like this is what it could be. This is what it could be. It was awesome.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, those take like a lot of planning and stuff, so we
Mhm.
can't do them like every month. But so we are keeping the Cyber Clown Girls show alive, and doing shows like once a month is kind of where we're at the moment. So we'll definitely do one for April. I think it's going to be all virtual. Um, but you can find out more and see updates at our very heavily shadow banned Instagram. Um, that's Cyber Clown Girls Show. So at Cyber Clown Girls Show on Instagram. And it's really funny because I don't think the stripper strike NoHo is shadow banned yet. So we get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like views on our stories.
Good.
And then Cyber Clown Girls has like triple the amount of followers and it gets like 10 views. I swear to fucking God.
It's so bizarre how the algorithms like choose what gets seen and what doesn't. So
It
that's another thing
sucks.
that allies can do to help and support is by just simply engaging with the Instagram accounts
Yes. Yeah,
to
good
help get
point.
the message out.
Yeah,
And just
any help appreciated.
like, comment, share, all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then for anyone who doesn't have any context for what I'm talking about, but the Cyber Clown Girls show is like a virtual show. So we started it during the pandemic, when all the clubs were closed. It was one of many virtual shows that popped up, and Daisy Ducati has been on one of the other virtual shows that popped up
Yeah.
during the pandemic, which is awesome. Shout out to Cool Cats. Um, and yeah, and then so since things opened back up, since it was such a fun expression of creativity for the dancers, as well as a nice reprieve from being under the thumb of strip club management, and we can make our own rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still going. So you can still see uh, dancers kind of like going DIY and like doing shows from their spaces, and it's really really fun, and oftentimes it's like insanely creative. So they're really really entertaining shows.
Yeah, I love the online shows. They're so much fun, and like there's something really fun about being able to come together with people that like may not physically be in the same place. They could be somewhere else in the world, and you're just partying together in your own home, and you can do whatever you
Yes.
want. The rules are a lot different when you're at home.
Yes. Yes, that's true too. And yeah, you can make up your own rules, and like yeah, it's easier to assert your boundaries, that's for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah, I loved that, like especially during the shutdown, that was like one of the magical things about it, was just like connecting to people from anywhere.
Hmm.
It was like one of my favorite parts. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's awesome.
Want to be fabulous just like these strippers? Pay attention, it's stripper
Only
tips.
you can decide what's good for you. Um, and like in terms of sex work and in terms of like stripping, like you have to listen to yourself, and figure out what you're okay with, and that can change, and you just have to have an ear sort of primed to your own inner voice, so that you don't let things get to a place where you feel violated. Um, and and that like whatever the rules are, what's more important is your feelings, and so like how things are making you feel. So like if someone is following the rules but they're making you uncomfortable, it's okay to acknowledge that and disengage. Like you don't have to feel pressured to follow through with a sale or follow through with a dance, or like make someone feel like what they're doing is fine but it doesn't feel fine to you. I would just say listen to yourself, and listen to your body, and listen to your heart, and listen to your soul, so that you just keep your head on. I don't know, I said that kind of weird, but in my mind it was going to be really inspirational, and like a moment, like with
No,
like
it
music
totally
playing in the
makes
background.
sense.
Listen to your heart.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. Like everybody's boundaries are completely different no matter what the rules are, and one dancer might be okay with something that another dancer isn't, and you really have to just know what your boundaries are and stick to them. And that's huge in this industry.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and also, okay, here's a good one that's like a little bit more fun. So also, if you have to, like, I would say practice saying no, but also practice like different ways to take the burden off of you. So like I would do that all the time. So like it didn't work so much in the club where the bouncers literally did nothing, but in a normal strip club you can be like, oh honey, like I would love to do that but I would definitely get in trouble and you don't want me to lose my job, do you? So you're putting it on them. It's not like I don't want to do that, and then they're going to be like, well fuck you or whatever. You like, so just so you don't have to get to that point where you're feeling like asserting your own boundaries is going to like jeopardize your relationship to the customer or the sale or getting a good tip, just be like, oh I would love to but they have cameras and I don't want to get in trouble, or like, oh my friend just got in trouble for that but I would otherwise, but I'm sorry honey, we just can't. So it's like just a good way to like mitigate, so you're still asserting your boundaries but you're still playing into their fantasy.
Yes, absolutely. That absolutely. I remember when I used to dance in San Francisco, there was one club where the champagne rooms were all upstairs, and there was a one of the champagne rooms had a glass floor that like overlooked the other VIP rooms down that were not hourly VIP rooms. Um, and I would always choose that one because if anything got weird, I'd be like, "Hey, they can see you through the floor."
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or I would distract them and be like, "Let's watch the other dancers."
Oh, funny. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, using the idea of surveillance like sometimes helps. Like you're being
It
watched
totally
and like we
helps.
can't. Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's not totally accurate, just
I know, just
use
make it
that.
up. Yeah, just totally use it. Like use anything you have to keep yourself safe.
Hmm. Yes, your own safety absolutely comes before what management says, any amount of money.
Yeah, or like what a customer thinks of you, or like
Hmm.
that comes way later.
Yeah. That's
Or
really,
or not at
really,
all.
yeah. Oh man, I can't believe that they have been so out of line. Like I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around like
I know.
all the laws they've broken.
A lot. A lot of laws.
That's bizarre, bizarre. But so before we go, is there anything you would like to tell our viewers or where they can find more of you?
Yeah. I also I've mentioned the Instagram stripper strike NoHo, the Instagram Cyber Clown Girls show, and then my personal Instagram is Janky Glamour. Glamour spelled with O-U-R, so it's Janky Glamour on Instagram. And I have like a weekly show. I've been totally not doing it for the past, I don't know, like month because I've been so swamped with all of this stuff. But I will eventually get back to it. But on Tuesday nights, I do a little solo show. It's my solo cyber irreverent. Well, I said it wrong. I said my own tagline wrong. My solo cyber irreverent show. And I started on Instagram and then it moves to OnlyFans. So I'm also on OnlyFans. Janky Glamour is my name there. And it's just fun. It's like me chatting and dancing. I use like a pole in my house. I'm dancing and I dance to song requests. And yeah, and it's a good time.
And your Instagram is super cute.
Thank you.
Super cute. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you. Now all of a sudden it's like activism, but yeah, it was like woo, pink bubbles and unicorns.
But I mean, you gotta handle the important stuff, and
Yes, you
this is
do.
absolutely important. And
Yeah.
I am behind you guys 100%. And
Thank you.
I think most of our listeners would be as well.
Thank you.
So, best of luck. I sincerely hope that you all get everything you're asking for, and it would be amazing to see you guys buy the club. It would be so
No.
beautiful.
Crossing
Uh,
all my fingers and toes.
I would be there for the grand opening.
Yes. Oh my God. You be on
Yes.
stage, I hope.
Yes. Oh, it would be so amazing.
Yeah.
So I really hope that comes through for you all, and I hope that I, I hope that these managers learn their lesson and don't do this anywhere else also.
I know.
Like I
I
can't
know.
imagine what their other club is going through.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other thing because I've been getting messages from dancers down there because they have like a full nude club that's like has
Oh,
private rooms and everything and like
oh
it's
no.
the same deal and I'm like horrified.
Oh no, that
Horrified.
makes it even more dangerous.
I know. I know. I'm scared for those
Oh,
girls.
is there any effort to like reach out to the dancers for the other club?
Yeah, we have been talking about that. We've been trying to figure out a strategy for that because like yeah, I really want I wish we had someone on the inside and like maybe we'll try to do that. That's like an idea. Because like yeah, because right now the easier ideas are like yeah, we should go down there and pick it or like we should but like I just don't know like I just don't know if that would be received well by the dancers and like doing an action on behalf of a workforce that doesn't even know what you're
Yeah.
doing, or it's
If
just
they
kind
don't
of
know
like,
what's going on, you're just messing up their money.
yeah, exactly. And I don't want to do that. And so like I feel, yeah, we're definitely thinking about it and trying to see like what strategy might be the most like what would make the most sense and what would be like benefiting them.
I mean, maybe just throwing an idea out there, maybe printing up flyers and just handing them to the dancers as they come in the door.
Yeah.
It'd be quiet and wouldn't disturb the customers, but at the same time it would get the information to them,
Yeah. No, that is a good idea.
and just have
I'll have
like
to
a
have
contact
someone.
email.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll have to, yeah, we can like plant someone who the management doesn't already know. Like
Yeah.
couldn't be me. They'd be like, get that girl out of here, causing trouble again.
Well, I hope it all works out, and
Thank you.
I really sincerely wish you all the best in this effort. It's amazing seeing it happen.
Thanks, Daisy. I love that you were a lusty lady. I love it.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it.
Oh, and I was there at the bitter end.
Oh
It was a
yeah.
mess.
Oh
I
God.
actually, so we did an episode with Pandora, who worked there with me, and we
Yeah.
talked about sort of the beginning of the end
Oh
and
yeah.
what went wrong there. Um,
Oh.
but yeah, so thank you for
Well, I'll have
joining
to listen.
us.
I'm gonna listen to that episode next for
Yeah,
sure.
it's juicy.
Yeah, I want to hear all that. I want to definitely listen to that.
But
Thank you so much.
thank you. It's awesome hearing like the whole story, because I've only been getting bits and pieces from Instagram, and it's awesome hearing the whole story and being able to get that out there so people understand why this is happening.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you for listening. This has been a production with Period Podcast Network. You can find out more on Instagram at Period Podcast Network, and you can follow us at Yes a Stripper Podcast on Instagram and Yes a Stripper Pod on Twitter. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your feedback in the comments on YouTube. We'll see you next week.